Join us as we travel back in time to revisit these old restaurants that we miss from the past. Part 3, ready? The Magic Pan was a favorite for many. This restaurant was an American chain known for its fast food and famous crepes. The crepes were prepared in the dining room on a special device called, of course, a Magic Pan, and watching them being made was almost as fun as eating them. The Magic Pan offered a variety of entree crepes, including meat, chicken, fish, and vegetable options. The crepes were interesting, creative, modestly priced, and very popular. For dessert, ice cream was featured in the crepe a la mode. The Magic Pan helped pioneer sit-down restaurants in shopping malls, offering a more formal dining option compared to snacks and food courts. These original restaurants were popular from the early 1970s to the early 1990s, peaking at 110 locations throughout the United States and Canada as the mall industry grew. However, in the early 1990s, the Magic Pan faced competition from many other sit-down restaurants, and their average check couldn't keep up with rising mall rents. The memories of this restaurant will always hold a significant place in America's history, especially the crepes.
Cheese, can you ever have too much?
Before there was Chipotle, there was a beloved restaurant that made Mexican food really popular in the 80s. Back in those days, Friday nights in the Midwest were all about fun family outings. First, we'd have dinner. Then we'd go to the movies or the mall. And where did we often eat? Chi-Chi's? This restaurant opened in 1976, right in downtown Minneapolis. It was named after the wife of one of the founders. Back then, there weren't many places to get Mexican food, so Chi-Chi's became super popular really fast. It was the perfect spot for delicious Mexican dishes and lots of fun. Maybe you still remember the song they'd sing if it was your birthday, while they brought out a fried ice cream dessert. Oh, their fried ice cream was amazing. It had a great atmosphere, and let's not forget the endless margaritas. This was a place known for its great drinks. In the end, Chi-Chi's had too many problems. They opened too many restaurants too quickly, picked bad locations for some of them, kept changing their managers, and went bankrupt. The once popular chain is mostly a thing of the past in the USA, but for all you Chi-Chi's lovers, the restaurants still exist in Vienna, Austria. For many, Chi-Chi's brings back happy 70s and 80s childhood memories. So what about you? Do you miss this place? McDonald's, Hardee's, Burger King. We all know these fast food names, right? But if you were born before the 70s, you might remember a place called Sandy's. Sandy's was a chain of American fast food restaurants started in 1956 by 4 entrepreneurs. The first store opened in 1958 in Illinois. In just 10 years, they had 100 locations. This restaurant was the first fast food place in many Midwest towns, bringing burgers to people before McDonald's arrived. At first, you walked up, ordered, and took your food to go. But later they added places to sit and eat inside. The buildings were incredible, with angled glass windows and brown wood interiors. Fans would easily recognize the Sandy's flasher bulbs and big signs with a Scottish girl. You could get milkshakes, the best French fries, and the famous Big Scott burger. This was the place to go if you wanted a really good burger. I wish I knew what was in their secret sauce. It was a really special place, and many people still have great memories of it. Let the battle of opinions begin. Some people even say they were better than McDonald's. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Woolworths department stores had super fun lunch counters. Who remembers? They were in almost every American city. Started in 1879, Woolworths became a big chain with hundreds of stores by the 1960s. After seeing how popular the first lunch counter was, they added them to many stores. These counters sold desserts, soups, drinks, and other yummy foods. They were like the early version of modern food courts. Who remembers eating lunch there? You could smell butterscotch candy as soon as you walked in. And let's not forget the amazing banana splits and the best vanilla Coke ever. Let me tell you about a magical time to be a kid called the 1980s. Many people remember being obsessed with going to Showbiz Pizza. This place was magical. The animal band was awesome. What great memories! Showbiz Pizza Place was a fun family entertainment center and pizza restaurant that opened in 1980. This place had tons of arcade games, fun rides, and cool animatronic stage shows. As a kid in the 1980s, there was nothing better than opening a birthday invitation and seeing Showbiz as the location. The place was set up like a cool dinner theater. It was perfect because the stage and dining area were separate from the game room. That way, families could eat and watch the show without kids running around or getting hit by balls from the ball pit. By 1990, Showbiz locations started changing to Chuck E. Cheese, and the animal band characters were replaced. Do you remember the smell when you first walked through the door, going to birthday parties, watching the shows, eating pizza, and playing games? Share your memories with us. And if you enjoy content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
Everybody goes to Gino's.
Do you remember this song? Let's remember together this place that many people missed. Gino's Hamburgers was a favorite fast food spot in the 1950s. It was started by football star Gino Marchetti and restaurant owner Louis Fisher in 1957. Gino's quickly became popular for its tasty burgers and crispy fries. The restaurants had a cool retro look with neon signs and shiny chrome, making them feel like old-fashioned diners. Gino's menu had lots of tasty burgers, from simple cheeseburgers to the big Gino Giant. They also had milkshakes, fries, and other beloved treats. But as time went on, Gino's faced tough competition from bigger chains, changing tastes, and economic problems. By the late 1980s, many Gino's locations had closed. Today, only the Towson and Glen Burnie locations are still open. For those lucky enough to enjoy Gino's burgers, the memories of that delicious Gino Giant taste will stay with you forever. When thinking about the good old days of traveling as a kid, do you remember your family stopping at Stuckey's to check out their pecan log rolls, pralines, and peanut brittle? The Stuckey's restaurant and store chain started as a roadside pecan stand outside of Eastman in the early 1930s. It didn't take long for them to become famous for these treats and their fun souvenirs. They mostly sold nut-based candies, but soon realized they could offer more to travelers. So, they added a restaurant and started selling other foods too. Stuckey's was a super cool roadside stop for over 3 generations. They had all kinds of stuff, and stopping there was one of the best parts of any trip to visit family. Their stores and restaurants were everywhere. If you took a long drive, you were bound to see at least one. So tell me, do you miss this place? Roy Rogers, who can forget the famous roast beef sandwiches and their horse high chair? Maybe you remember going there for family dinner nights, meeting up with friends, or being part of Roy's team. Named after the famous singing cowboy Roy Rogers, this beloved chain has been serving hearty meals with a Western flair since it started. The first Roy Rogers opened in 1968 in Falls Church, Virginia. The chain was inspired by Roy Rogers, the famous American singer and actor known for his roles in Western movies and TV shows. They wanted to capture the spirit of the Old West with cowboy decorations and a menu full of tasty food. When you walked in, you saw pictures of cowboys, horses, and wide-open spaces, making it feel like a fun trip back in time. At its peak, Roy Rogers had over 600 locations. Pretty impressive, right? They had delicious items like the Double R Bar Burger and a Fixin's Bar, where you could add your favorite toppings to your sandwiches. This place definitely holds happy memories for many kids from the past, and it's great that they still have many locations across the USA. It felt so fancy going there. Little kid me thought it was the most elegant place ever. Starting around 1965 in California, the Velvet Turtle was a beloved fancy restaurant known for its cold cucumber soup and beef Wellington. This restaurant was famous for its delicious American food, and many remember it for the special family celebrations held there. People loved it because the food was really good and the service was great. In the early 1970s, the owner sold the chain and the last one closed in the early 1990s. Even though it's now in the past, the Velvet Turtle is still fondly remembered by its old customers. Perkins Restaurant and Bakery is an American casual dining chain that serves breakfast, home-style meals, and bakery items like pies, muffins, and other sweets all day long. Perkins started in 1957 as a single pancake house in Ohio and grew into one of the nation's leading family restaurants through franchising. If you stepped into a Perkins kitchen in the late 1950s, you'd find waffle and pancake batter everywhere, but no bakery items or burgers. The in-house bakery didn't appear until the 1980s. It's hard to imagine Perkins without their famous mammoth muffins now. They started with pancakes and waffles, added lunch and dinner options, and eventually included a bakery. Their menu reflects this growth, showing how they've expanded their offerings over time. In many ways, Perkins is the perfect restaurant and bakery franchise for today. It holds fond memories for many of us. And before you go to our next video, tell me, if you could bring back one restaurant from back in the day, which one would it be?